Sound awakens something deep within. Welcome to this podcast, a space to slow down, tune in, and return to the song of your soul. Hello, David. Thank you for being here today.
Hi, thanks for inviting me.
It's an honor to introduce David Gibson today, a true pioneer in the field of sound healing. He's the founder and director of the Globe Sound Healing Institute in San Francisco, a space where science, vibration, and spirituality beautifully meet. David leads the Globe Sound Healing Conference series, teaches immersive certificate programs, and runs a sound therapy center dedicated to helping people experience healing through frequency and resonance. He's also the author of The Complete Guide to Sound Healing, a book that continues to inspire practitioners and seekers around the world to explore how sound can restore harmony to the body, mind, and spirit. David, welcome again, and it's an honor to have you here.
Thank you.
So, I want to, first of all, start off by asking about your journey. Like, how did your journey to sound start?
Well, I started as a recording engineer, and I worked with a lot of major groups like James Brown's band and the Doobie Brothers. And then I started to see the magic coming across from different musicians, and I would get goosebumps and chills, and sometimes the whole room would turn purple. And I
Wow.
thought, and I thought, how can we reproduce this at will?
Right.
And so I had the whole recording school started in 1990. And then 20 years ago, we added on the sound healing component. And that's gotten really big because now we're really looking at a new medical system and a new educational system. Also, years ago, when I was teaching recording, I came up with this whole visual system where I use spheres or bubbles to show different structures of mixes. And my book, The Art of Mixing, is the #1 selling book in the world in recording. And I thought, oh, we could use this in virtual reality where you could reach up and grab the sounds and use the sounds bubbles to actually mix the sound instead of faders and on a mixing board. And then I realized I could actually put those sounds and visuals inside the body. And I thought, oh, this is cool, but I need to learn about sound healing so I don't explode any organs.
Right.
And so that's when I really got into it in detail and really then came up with the whole system for actually doing healing by putting sounds and visuals in very specific cells or organs and parts of the body in virtual reality too.
That's very interesting, like how you started as a audio mixing engineer and turned to sound healing. So the intriguing part is back then, not many people were sound healers. So how did the idea of sound healing come about in your mind, and who did you approach back then?
Well, there's been a lot of people. I mean, everybody from Stephen Halpern to, even ancient times.
Right.
I mean, the sound healing's really been around for thousands of years. But still, you're right. I mean, most of the people would look at me like I had two heads when I would say sound healing. So there was a lot of education, and also there was really very little understanding of the science behind it. I was a physics major at UC Berkeley, and I studied the physics of sound in detail. So I'm able to actually explain it in ways that scientists can understand and also that doctors can understand. But still, there's so little research out there because research is so expensive. So we're now getting funding to set up a lab and to really, really not only prove how sound healing works, because that's cool, but really what I'm interested in is proving very specific things that will bring sound into hospitals.
True. Very true. Very much needed. And earlier I meant to correct myself, like where when I said not too many sound healers around, I mean in the West, because in the East, sound healing was predominant. Like it was part and parcel of our lives. We knew it or not, we had it happening every single day. But in the West, it was brand new, right?
Uh-huh.
2 decades
Right.
ago.
Right. It's like, the traditions from India, I mean, they had it all figured out like thousands of years ago, right? So it's interesting though, but I've had a lot of people and companies from India that wanted to learn about the new science behind it now,
Right.
right?
That's
I mean, like
interesting.
what's actually going on when we do a mantra or a chant or, yeah.
That's beautiful. So, and in your book, you talk about how sound affects the physical, emotional, and the spirit body, right? So, can you start off by explaining how it affects the physical level?
Well, the basis of it all is the difference between chaotic vibrations, which is like fear,
Right.
or
Right.
anger, or anxiety, or pain, or stress, just stress. All those are chaotic vibrations versus the vowels, which are stable, consistent. What I've learned is peace is a frequency humming consistently instead of chaotically. So the problem happens physically, mentally, emotionally, even spiritually. We get a little chaos, which is just stress, right? And it starts manifesting as tension in the body. It gets in the way of functions in the body. And so the basis is to overcome that chaos with stable, consistent vibrations. And this is not just vowels, this is any drone like a crystal bowl, Tibetan bowl, didgeridoo, gongs, tuning forks. Those are all drone instruments, or even a stable, consistent rhythm. In physics, there's a law of physics called dominant resonance. And that is a strong vibration will overcome a weaker vibration and train the weaker into the stronger. So we can just simply do like I just did. And in 15 seconds, you immediately feel more peaceful. And that will help every part of the body. But then it gets really detailed because we can now look at the actual frequency physically of every cell, every organ, every part of the body. So what we're looking for is its natural frequency that it vibrates at when it's healthy. And it starts going gets a little stress, gets a little chaos going on, we can play its frequency to it and it will heal it. And there's good scientific research behind this. You can play a frequency to a cell and it will make it healthy, its frequency. The problem is everybody's cells are a little bit different. So we have to get a device that will measure. We can find the range of cells for people for different parts of the body,
Mhm.
right? But ultimately, there are light microscopes and electron microscopes that can tell the entire frequency content of a cell scientifically now. So
That's
we can
interesting.
measure your cells and 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 then harmonize or play the frequency to yourself. The problem is there's 70 trillion of them. Right? So here's the deal. What we've learned is the relationship between the cells is the same from person to person. So even though your frequency might be different, the relationships are going to be the same. So we can find one main cell in different areas of the body and then extrapolate to the relationships of all the others to
Okay.
get all 70 trillion. And then we can play that template of musical interval perfection to all 70 trillion cells and actually heal you. But here's another thing that I got. Last year, my guide said at 5 in the morning, they said, "What if you can visualize musical flow, not just frequency, but flow through all of the 11 medical systems, you could heal every disease." And that's the whole deal. It's a musical flow more than just a frequency. Because in the nervous system, if you don't have smooth flow, you're going to be shaky. If you don't have smooth flow through the circulatory system, all types of I mean, you can have a heart attack. If you don't have smooth flow through the digestive system, all types of problems happen. Smooth flow through a meridian's the whole deal. You
So when
inf
they say musical flow, is it just with instruments or is it instruments combined with voice? Did they
Well,
specify?
this is a really interesting
Yeah.
question. That's a very good question because if you think of flow through a system, it's kind of like a river.
Right. It
But if
is.
you look at a river, where are the notes?
They're all
Like,
merged.
right. Well, there's like every molecule could be a note. There's a million of them, right?
Yeah.
Same when energy's going through the body. There's millions of them. How many? We don't even know how many. It's because it's infinite notes. But what happens if we find the notes of your nervous system, we have to figure out where we want to measure.
Right.
Similar to the acupuncture points, but it's a little different. We're talking the actual nervous system. We find the notes of those nodes, and then we can find the rhythm with the actual EKG and EEG when you're at peace, because it's going to be in relation to that. And then we've got the actual song through your body in that nervous system. And then we can use needles with frequencies, electromagnetic micropad currents, infrared light, ultrasound, and scalar waves, and run that river of flow, even though it's only so many notes. Da, 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 da. It's going to trigger the infinite flow of the river through the whole nervous system.
So you're kind of entraining your cells. Is that
Oh,
correct?
yeah, and training is, yeah, we're basically entraining it to what it would naturally be when it's healthy.
So you're entraining them to their flow state.
Right, right. Now you can work at the frequency level because those are normally where the blockages are.
Right.
And if we find a frequency of a cancer cell, you can turn the volume up and it will explode it. That's called destructive resonance in physics. It's exactly what we do with kidney stones. We find their frequency, turn the volume up, and kablooey. And now Anthony Holland has 15 frequencies that will destroy 15 types of cancer every time in the lab. And now John Hopkins Hospital is actually using ultrasound with destructive resonance to to destroy liver cancer. So we can break up the blockage that way to get the flow back, or we can focus on what's right, the frequency of what's right before it was wrong.
Yep, I remember.
So we can work at the frequency level, but why not also work at the flow level? Let's play the song of you through each of the 11 systems. I can't wait to know my 11th song.
But don't you have like a program where you help people know their individual frequency?
Yeah, yes, but that's the rhythm frequency.
Okay.
It's not the notes through the whole flow. It's not the song. It's we actually tune a song that I came up with, which is not exactly your song, but that song is then tuned to your metabolism, which is average of your heart rate and brainwave rate, which you don't have to average out when you're at peace. So it's tuned to that rhythm and note. And that's really cool for getting you back to peace of you. There's no better frequency in the universe than yours. It's really good for anxiety, for depression, for PTSD. It's good for dementia. We've found at the dementia center we're working with, we found the note of 160 patients there. It's really good for autism. Just yesterday, I found the note of a kid with autism. And it's especially good for traumatic brain injuries because it gets your brain back to its stable, consistent vibration instead of chaos, which happens from the injury.
So is that note the same across all these kids or all these people with a specific diagnosis?
No,
It changes.
No, no, it doesn't change. I don't think it changes. It might change when you're a kid, when you get a little older, might change when you go through menopause, but it's pretty stable. So you could have kids with, or anybody with autism, and they could have a really fast metabolism,
Okay.
or they could have a really slow metabolism. And there's no judgment to metabolism. People with slow metabolisms are often a little more heavyset. People with faster metabolisms are often thinner.
Thinner
The
and
first
hyperactive.
Well, no. No, that's a perfect question. The first thing we see when we see somebody is how scattered they are.
Okay.
That's hyperactive, right? Little too much coffee, right? Or a person that's really stable and still, spiritual leader. Let's sit with them, right? So that's different than fast or slow.
Okay.
So you can have somebody that's really fast, and they could be scattered or stable.
Okay.
I have a friend, she's really fast and she's so centered and stable. And we commonly confuse scattered with fast,
Right. We do.
but you could be slow and scattered or stable.
Yeah. Got it. So when you are tuning these people with those home frequencies or individual frequencies, which parts of the body are you looking at to see where they're out of tune?
You know, I've kind of been doing it for 10 years. So I started just with the breath. And you can see if somebody is breathing a, a a natural breath without tension. Right? And when you play, I play the 10 notes and rhythms. Whoa, 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 whoa. And I watch to see if that rhythm I'm playing matches their breath or their breath matches the rhythm. And you can see when it gets in time with the actual rhythm because your breath is an octave of your heart when you're in the zone, when you're at peace, and exact octave of the brain. You have to average out the heart because it goes up and down, but the brain and the breath, you don't have to average out. So when I see the breath is in time with the rhythm, I know that's the note. But I also, the truth is, I've gotten where I just do it intuitively. I just kind of become them. And it took a while because for the first year, everybody was my note.
Yeah.
Right? It's like, "Oh, that feels good to me." It's like, that's it, right? It took me a while to really totally tune into them. But now what we're doing is we're creating an app that will do it automatically, where you can actually just hook up EKG to the finger or EEG, which will be more detailed, and then it will tell you within 5 minutes exactly your rhythm where you're at peace. And then we can automatically give you music in delta for sleep, tuned to you. It's so much better. If anybody's ever watched or listened to binaural beats, it's way better when it's tuned to you. So
That's
delta for sleep, theta for creativity, especially creative downloads. It's really interesting that when you get really mellowed, kind of spaced out, that you get these creative downloads. And I'm thinking, where do they come from? I mean, we're not trying to figure out, put two things together and come up with something new. They just pop in the head. Where do they come from? It's like I mean, might it not be higher beings waiting for you to get to your frequency where they can talk to you?
yeah.
It's also theta is where you are when you're one with the universe or running love. And then there's alpha, which is presence and really good for learning when you're not thinking, when you're just present in the moment. It's also really good for creative problem solving. I don't know if you've ever had a time where you're trying to figure something out and you go do something, you relax, and the answer pops in your head way more detailed than you could have figured out. Where the hell does that come from? I mean, it's unbelievable. Another group of beings going, okay, here's how we figure out that answer. And then beta for thinking and overcoming ADHD. This is like a cure. I don't use that word very often. This is a cure for ADHD. It gets you back. Basically, the main type of ADHD is where your brain can't go fast enough to think, because beta brain waves are really fast. They're like, brrr. So they give people speed to think, right? Which has all types of side effects. So we can find your note of beta, tune it to that, and all of a sudden you can totally focus. It's unbelievable. And then the last brainwave state is gamma, for blissing out. And they found that when you get people in their gamma, it synchronizes all the other lobes in the brain,
Oh, that's
which is
interesting.
really also a gamma is associated with really high states of meditation. They've actually measured Dalai Lama trained meditators and found that they were going into gamma, which is a really fast brainwave state, where the whole world slows down. When you're going that fast, the world turns into slow motion.
Yeah, I was going to say, isn't everything kind of related to breath? Because you just change your breath, take a deep breath, meditate, and you slow down and relax, and whatever needs to happen or heal happens.
It's the best. The breath is the lowest frequency we have direct control over. And low frequencies are actually more powerful than high frequencies energy wise. If you have a concert PA system, the amplifier takes way more power to create low frequencies than high frequencies. So when you totally do your breath to your rhythm, because a lot of people go, okay, do 10, 5 in, 10 out. No, do it to whatever rhythm is right for you. I was in a breathwork conference, and the main guy there, he said, just get the air in.
Yeah.
Right? Get it in and out, and do it to your own rhythm, right? And what's really cool is my rhythm is B flat. I think you're really close to a B flat as well, because we're very similar metabolism rate. So that's like in, if I do a really slow one, and out. You can easily find your own rhythm just by doing breathing and feeling where it feels the best. Another way you can do it is tapping. Tap at different speeds on your chest
Uh-huh.
and see what rhythm, tempo
Feels
feels
good.
right. And then you can say, I find, here's mine. Da, 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 da. I can do that 8 in. Da, 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 da. Or just 4 in. Out. Da, 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 da. Now I got my breath rhythm. Right? That's really cool. There's another thing you can do that's really fun, and it's so cool. It's so amazing that we are completely enveloped in our own rhythm and are so unaware of it. I mean, if you just do your pulse or on your neck, here's my pulse. A little excited for the radio show here. It's really cool to get a little rhythm going to you. And when you do that, it starts to slow down because now you're starting to relax. Right, right. Yeah. And not only that, that rhythm is going out over 100 feet electromagnetically from your heart. So not only are we enveloped in it, everybody around us is. And it's not like we're not getting it. It's just we're not just consciously aware of it, but we're totally getting it.
Yes.
And again, the main thing we're always noticing how stable or how scattered or stable it is.
Well, if it's scattered, you can bring it back to stability.
Yeah, it's so easy. Yeah, it's really easy.
Yeah. You think that it's hard, but
I mean, you could just do any vowel, and you can do it silently, like this.
so that's called toning, right?
Yeah, toning is singing any vowel or any or humming or toning.
So, what is your favorite, like toning or chanting?
Oh boy. Well, I kind of like both. It's like kind of saying, okay, which kind of ice cream do I like? They're both really good, right? Uh, Chanting is more effective because it's got a rhythm. And there's the other thing that makes it way more effective is the magical syllables of the sounds you're making, which are tied into very specific functions in the body, right? So, and the fact that you're running a specific intention or energy of that chant. So they're kind of like on a whole nother level. I mean, you can, if I do a toning with love, I mean, it's getting close, right? And it's still really good. But, chants, I think anytime you do a rhythm, it's more enveloping. And then what's really cool, and people don't think about it, do a chant to your rhythm.
Well, I think that happens naturally as you're chanting. Your body, your tone, all it just adjusts to what's aligned for you, what's the right um, frequency for you. So that happens. And the other thing with chanting, I find, is that even though, I mean, they say, a lot of people say, come sit with an intention and chant it. But even though we don't have an intention, like when we just chant, what happens is the universe kind of takes care of us because we are part of the universe. The universe knows what to correct, where to correct, how to correct. So the healing happens naturally. So yes, intention is powerful, but when chanting, I think leaving it open and letting it flow I feel that's where the magic happens, because we may not know exactly what we need, but it starts at a very subtle level.
And each chant has its own intention embedded in it already
That's true.
as well, as
Yeah.
well. I, yeah. Oh, yeah. I mean, any way you can get in the zone where you're at peace, right? And it's so easy. Here's the deal is really what people need to do, and it's so simple, is they need to go to a place of peace. I would say at least 12 times, 20 would be much better, per day,
Per day.
per day. And I'm talking about even 10, 15 seconds, and then continue. And then what happens is peace becomes the norm throughout the day. And your whole body is now not running stress. So you get back to this stillness over and over. It's so simple. You don't need an instrument. You could do just any chant, any mantra, or any vowel. And it's so simple. And you can totally do it silent.
True. Yeah. That's very true. Like, we need to take those moments for ourselves, like to go within and to just tune into of how we are feeling at that moment and to kind of acknowledge it.
The next step is to then take that stable, consistent vibration and send it out to the world. So now you can, okay, we're now at peace. Let's, whatever my problems are or the problems on the planet, let's just send a little sound of love to them. All the problems on the planet, especially politics. I was just thinking yesterday, right now, especially in the US, which is expanding, it has expanded to the whole world, there is more anger than has ever been on the planet, probably right now. Maybe, well, actually, I would think back to wars, maybe there's World War One and Two, there was a lot. But right now, the level of anger on the planet is unbelievable. There's so many people that are so angry at the other side politically, and it's really seeping in to all relationships. It's in the ether, it's in the astral field. And so it's so important now to really do this piece because it's so easy to get swept into it.
True. So that brings us to the next level, which is the emotional level, right? So, since anger is what's permeated in the space and ether right now, how do you get this stuck emotion to unravel itself and transform into peace?
Well, there's I'll give you the long answer on that because this is kind of really important. First of all, the trick is to be able to express it because a lot of people stuff it. In some cultures, way more than others,
They're called
right?
master stuffers.
Professional stuffers, right?
Yes.
But we had it down as babies.
Yes.
I mean, if you had anything going on, you expressed it with a sound, "Wah!" with zero thought as to whether you were doing it right or wrong in front of anybody. We totally had it down to create expression of flow of that emotion, which if you don't express it, it's a blockage, which creates physical blockages in the body also. Right?
Yes.
So then around 1 or 2, it's like shh, and then we get in school and there's no more sound, and you go to work, no more sound except around here, and we lose that God-given ability to express ourselves. So what we start with is what's important is to just make any sound and get silly. Blah, 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 blah. What we do is we do call and response until people are comfortable making sound. Because most people these days, because of professional singers, are scared to death to make sound. Yeah. I mean, we're all scared to death. We think, oh, and if anybody's told you you're a bad singer, track them down, kick them in the knee. I mean, okay. So first you get where you can make any sound, and then you start getting where you can make the sound of how you're feeling. We do it with the young ones, even 3-year-old, so they keep it going. But also we're doing it with the dementia patients. Do call and response, ooh, ooh, ah, right? And we get them finally, we've got all 160 so they can make the sound of how they're feeling. This one guy, a couple of months ago, he's like hunched over like this. And I said, can you do the sound of how you're feeling? And he goes, ah, and he looks up at me and smiles and goes back down. Right? Totally wakes up. And with dementia, they're able to express where they're at without words. It's really cool. Okay. So now once you get comfortable expressing how you feel, which is really important to teach the kids, keep that going. How are you doing? Is it like this? Or, right? In the classes with the kids, we actually went through all like 50 different emojis and had them make the sound of all the different emojis. So then what you want to do is there's really 2 parts to it. One is to express where you're at and then shift it. The main thing is 90% of, or most medical intuitives say that 90% of all disease are emotions.
They're stuck
So,
emotions.
yeah, you can't let yourself hurt yourself. If you're not feeling good, do something to shift it. A
Yes.
lot of people go, oh, but that's just where I'm at. Well, it's killing you if you let it go on too long. 5 minutes is okay, right? Even an hour, but God, after 3 hours, you need to shift it. So one technique we taught the kids, 3 to 6-year-olds, got it down. I said, okay, make the sound of where you are first. Be authentic. Express it, and then slowly transform it into a vowel like this. The slower you do it, the more your your uh, your consciousness will believe it's transformed. You can also there's a few other things. You can actually make the sound of the part of the body that's holding the emotion.
Hmm. That's that. How do we do that?
Well, you got to track it down first. Like where, okay, I got this emotion. Where is it in my body? Okay, yeah, my neck got a little tension there. Oh, maybe it's in my stomach and the digestive tract. It's like sometimes it's hard to track it down, but you can track it down. You can also use Chinese medicine that shows different organs for different emotions. And then you go, okay, let's make the sound to either break up that energy in the body that's holding the motion or harmonize it. So it might be, blah, 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 or it might be, it's really cool.
So there's two ways to
Yeah.
trans
But another way to, yeah, right. You can either do breaking up or harmonizing.
harmonizing it.
Yeah. Now, another one I really like, but it might be a little out there for people, like, and that is call in higher beings and let them make the sound through you. Right?
Through
I
you?
mean, it could just be Kuan Yin. It could be Christ energy. It could be the elements, earth, air, fire, and water. It could be your ancestors. It could be archangels, ascended masters. Could be positive aliens. And let them make the sound through you to release the emotion. Right? But the best, which a lot of people can't do, is connect to source and let source make the sound through your voice. It's really, when I ask people, how many of you have been one with the universe connected to source? It's generally about a third, occasionally a half, but I've got unusual groups. And then I say, okay, how many of you can access it at will? And it goes down to less than a quarter. When you are able to access source, where you're one with the universe, oh my God, it's unbelievable. Not only do you have access to more energy and information, you basically have even past life information, but you're just way more in the zone. And there's universal love there.
Right. How do
Most
you connect with source?
boy, it's once you've got it down, it's kind of just you set the intention and you go there. Okay, there we go. It's just like I open up like the whole room to light. The tricky part is for people that have never done it. Like it's like they look at you like you got two heads. What are you talking about? Open it up to light, right? Well, there's a few techniques that can do it, and it's really cool. First of all, when you are one with source, you're in the brainwave state of theta mostly, which is between 3.5 and 7 cycles per second. Everybody's a little bit different. First of all, if you can find that person's theta, what that we were talking about earlier, we can play that rhythm to them as to where they would be in their brain if they were connected to source. That gets them right to the threshold. Sometimes they go over into, but not always. But another thing that's really interesting is when you tune into multiple things at once, you also go into theta, like
Which is like how?
sparkles on the water,
Mhm.
right? Or all of the or everything in a view. That's just like why we like views. We go into it's too much for the left brain to handle. It's too big, too much information, so we go into the zone, right? Or listening to all the sounds in a mix of music.
Soundscapes.
Yeah. Or all of the harmonics within a sound healing instrument, especially something like a gong. My God, there's thousands of frequencies in a gong. So we go into the zone of theta. And what's cool about that is the prefrontal cortex stops working, or it actually opens up the whole brain. So the whole brain's working. And that's where you are when you're one with the universe. But still, sometimes it's just a little step further. Sometimes people sit with people that are one with the universe, and it happens. Shaktipat, right, where you sit with the spiritual leader and they run the energy and it opens it up if you're ready, right? And then there's there's a couple of other ways that are now happening. One of my colleagues, Jeffrey Martin, now has ultrasound frequencies he can play on microtubules in the brain that he's figured out will bring you into oneness and unity consciousness in the lab every time. And he can show you when you're there by the EEG map.
That's brilliant.
Oh my God, it's unbelievable. But here's another thing that we're looking at with our research, and I'm really excited about this. You know, we can do an EEG map and get you back into that state by playing frequencies on the lobes that were of where you were when you were in that state in the beginning. So, for example, we can get somebody in gratitude pretty easily. That's a pretty easy meditation. We do an EEG map, and then we play frequencies when we want to get you back with electrodes on each of the lobes to as exactly where you were when you for you in gratitude. And now, so you're a little depressed. Okay, play a few frequencies. Okay, I'm in gratitude again. We can do love. Most people can do love. A lot of people can even do compassion with the right meditation, but most people cannot do universal love or oneness. So what we can do is we can do the EEG map and then look at the relationship of all the lobes, like we were talking about with the whole body, and then apply that relationship set to your metabolism and get you into that state of universal love and oneness.
That sounds very intriguing, David.
Oh my God. If you are in oneness and unity consciousness, there's no more anxiety. There's no more depression. There's no more PTSD. We're talking an end to all mental emotional issues right now. And not only that, you're blissed freaking out. You're blissed out in universal love. The only problem is why get out of bed? Why go to work?
I know. You're like complacent, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Right. It's actually a problem. So the next step is to learn how to actually engage your mental body and will while in the zone. And that's complete manifestation.
When you're with oneness.
Yeah. Yeah. A lot of people can get, when they're in oneness, it's kind of, they're just floating in bliss. But when you realize that if you can actually transform things there, and you can't use your desire because that'll take you out of the zone. You
Yeah,
have
you
to
have
do
to
it
be
in
thoughtless, right?
what's that?
You have to be thoughtless.
Exactly. Thoughtless and in alignment with spirit and go, okay, let's actually shift this in my own emotional body, shift this in my physical body, ding, right? And let's see what we can do for the world. Ding. Okay, with is that in alignment? Yes. Let's go for
It's like push of three buttons, huh?
it. Exactly. Exactly.
That sounds very fairy tale-ish.
Oh my God. So look, we've now got a cure for all mental emotional issues. And with the flow systems through the body, we have a cure. My guide said last year, we can cure every disease. And I'm like, every disease? And they're like, yes. I'm like, really? Yes. Really? Yes. It could take a while to go through every disease and see what flow system will break it up. Right. But maybe if we get all 11 songs for you and me, it will totally break them up. I can see right now an end to all disease.
Would the hospitals let you in, though?
Well, yeah, the deal is you get the hospitals to lead it. And if not, ultimately, here's a perfect example. We now have a cure for cancer without radiation or chemo. The hospitals are starting to use it.
They are?
I Yeah, yeah. John Hopkins is now using ultrasound on liver cancer. And even if they didn't, if m m if people saw 1,000,000 people cured of cancer,
They'll be
they're
insane.
yeah, it's gonna the public is gonna drive it big time, right? So ultimately, the pharmaceutical companies aren't gonna have a chance, right? But right now, we can do the FDA approval thing.
Are you affiliated with any of the hospitals with your sound technique?
Yeah, I've been working with Kaiser. I've been doing a lot of presentations for the doctors there. And then we've got students all over the country and world actually working in hospitals, more in the integrative therapy side,
Yes.
right? And so um but yeah, it's basically throughout the US. Sound is in almost every major hospital in major cities now.
It feels very good to hear that hospitals are incorporating sound.
Yeah. And they're getting more and more open. Again, I mean, this is a big step. John Hopkins using ultrasound to destroy cells. and they're now looking at prostate cancer as well. And ultimately, we're talking 10 years, there's not gonna be any more chemo and radiation. Ultimately, okay, this is where it's going. It may not even be in my lifetime, but this is how it should work. And we're looking at setting the template to do this now. We're getting funding to create this template. Still using all the things in hospital, because there's a lot of good things in hospital. Probably saved my life a couple of times already. Right? So you go in the hospital and they say, oh, you got a physical problem? We can use sound and get rid of that with no side effects. But first, you need to go into the emotional wing and figure out the actual emotion that caused that in the first place and release it with sound. Otherwise, it's going to come back. And then go into the mental wing and use brainwave entrainment with binaural beats tuned to your brain to get you back so you can focus again, so you're not bouncing off the walls. Right? And then we're going to send you into the spiritual wing and learn about love. Oh, you're not spiritual? Let's go into the garden and
Yeah,
learn about
picture.
flow systems in nature. And then we'll actually get rid of that problem with physical problem with sound. That's the way it should really be.
I love that concept. It's very well rounded and it has everything.
hmm It's making some headway already. Uh, It's really, I can, funny, 5 years ago, I thought it was just a dream.
Yeah.
And now I'm starting to see it happen. Even 15 years ago, I thought, oh, it'd be nice if we could destroy cancer cells with sound in the hospital. I was just like, yeah, right. And now it's happening. So we're on the way. We're on the way. Ultimately, here's what's going to happen. You got an issue, they email you the frequency and you play it, it's gone, you move on with the day.
Who was that? Edgar Casey said, sound is the future of medicine, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Imagine every disease gone. It's like, what are we going to do? Right? Then it's all about fun, creativity, and love. Right? That's what we're going to go do instead of working on healing. And ultimately, I mean, this is from there, then we start working on everybody abundant on the whole planet, redoing the cities, and because health and wealth are taken care of, relationships start resolving.
Yep. Yeah. But if we touch one center, all the centers are going to be taken care of.
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
just a byproduct.
yeah, yeah, yeah. I came up with this movie. I want to tell you, it's really funny that they figure out uh, how any emotion directly creates disease.
Yeah.
And then they have a AI app that tracks everything you say and says, "Oh, what you just did, you're actually just started the cancer with those words and those emotions."
Where was I reading? I was reading this yesterday and it talks about how in future, like you just have to be very mindful of your thoughts. Like thoughts used to be things, but it won't be things anymore, but they are like thoughts or beings that would result in things manifesting immediately. So we have to watch our thoughts. That's where these things arise from, like the world we are in, the world we create around us. It's just a reflection of our thoughts. So I was like, oh my gosh, that's so true because now we are seeing it in a matter of hours or days. But in the future, it's like that instant second.
Well, the problem is that our thoughts are mostly from the language and all the people in mass conscious around us. So there's these patterns that get going in us, not only from parents and society, but even past lives. It's even in our DNA. So it's really very tricky to overcome those patterns and be present with every thought. And even it, it's really amazing. I was thinking, there's three types of thoughts. One is you talking to yourself in your head.
Mm-hmm.
What am I going to do today, Dave? Oh, that's interesting. Oh, there's a little problem. Okay, and that's a musical flow because every time we talk, we sing when we talk, and sometimes it's a smooth flow. Oh boy, I can't wait for today. Oh boy, here comes another challenge. Oh, no problem, right? Or we go with stressful flow with our thoughts. Oh God, I don't know what to do. It's like, I got this problem. I got 8 problems. So what am I going to do? Right. And that's the first thought is our voice in our head talking, flowing or not. The second is a song or a chant or a mantra, which is total flow. It's really cool, even if it's a stupid song. The third is no thought at all. Present in the moment with the light around you, the sounds around you, and the state of your body. Present in the moment. Those are the three that we
Yeah, that is beautiful, David. And I think that's how it goes, the stages of it, right? Yeah.
it's all about peace when you get down to it, whether it's peace at the frequency level or peace at the flow level. It's really stable, consistent flow is peace. And that's the whole deal. When you're at peace, your immune system works better, all organs go into alignment, you're more creative, and it's a portal to other dimensions where you're one with the universe.
Harmony, homeostasis, and bliss. So, yeah, thank you so much for today's episode, David. I really enjoyed talking to you. And
Thank you. Ew.
thanks for tuning in. Take a deep breath, carry the peace with you, and I will see you next time.